This conference will now be recorded.
I'm going to turn that down just a little bit. You want me to wait? Oh, we're not restarting. No. Saying it has 14 minutes before we update. I said no. I said no. Do you want me to get started? Okay, you ready? Okay, gotcha. All right, good evening, everybody. It's Monday, June 6, 2022. It is 7:01 p.m. If I could please get everyone to ensure your cell phones are muted or silenced and rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Mrs. Anderson, you please take the roll this evening.
Councilmember Brown.
Here.
Councilmember Chapman.
Here.
Councilmember Collins.
Present.
Councilmember Smith. Councilmember Collins. Roland.
I'm still here.
Councilmember Burke.
Here.
Councilmember Doherty.
Dowdy. Here.
I know a Doherty, that's my problem.
All right, Mr. Smith has called out this evening with illness.
Can I make a motion to excuse Councilmember Smith?
I'll second.
Moved by Councilmember Chapman, second by Councilmember Rowland. Mrs. Anderson.
Councilmember Brown.
Aye.
Councilmember Rowland.
Aye.
Councilmember Chapman.
Aye.
Councilmember. Burke. Did you say
Oh, aye.
Councilmember Collins?
Aye.
I was reading.
Councilmember.
Dowdy.
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 It's howdy, Dowdy.
Howdy, Dowdy. Howdy, Dowdy.
It's okay, you can. That's how you tell my kids.
Everyone is, or Mr. Smith has been excused. We have no presentations or proclamations this evening, and moving on to citizen communications for items not on the agenda. And I have not on the agenda. Ron Beechenson? Breckheisen. Sorry, Mr. Breckheisen. If you could step up here, I'll provide you 5 minutes. Let us know why you're here.
Thank you for hearing me. I'm here is because of one of our favorite subjects, I think, is Gun Club Road. Apparently, have some funding to do some resurfacing on Gun Club Road. We've got surveyors crawling up and down it all day long. That's what we've been told by Public Works. Anybody can confirm that? That would be great.
That is true. So I should have, is this your first time being to council?
Yes.
Okay, so council will not interact with you.
Okay.
So any interaction will be coming from myself,
Okay,
or if you have questions, I'll do my best to try to answer them, or the executive team will. Okay,
very good.
so I can, yes, there is a project going on,
Okay, great.
or in the works, I should say.
Those of us that live there are grateful for that because it'll keep the dishes in our pantries again. It's pretty rough when the traffic goes up and down the road. The problem that we're seeing is with a nice new smooth road, we are now going to have even faster traffic on Gun Club Road. The only thing that restricts anybody from any kind of speed is the rough humps and bumps in the road. So we make that nice and smooth. Now we've just turned it into even more of a racetrack. Right now, it looks like, from what I can tell, it's 3,800 feet of Gun Club Road. There's absolutely nothing that stops anybody from slowing down at all. Bus stops directly across. There's 3 bus stops, 3 levels of bus stops directly across from my house, kitty corner. And I see the kids trying to go across the street. I see the kids trying to get off the bus, go across the street. And sometimes they're playing Frogger. Sometimes people will stop for them. Sometimes they won't. Okay. It's not fair to the police department for us to call and say, hey, there's a problem, get out here. They've got sergeants out there multiple times. They bring the trailer out, set it up. It sometimes slows folks down for a little while, but as soon as it's gone, within a matter of a few hours, everybody's right back up to 45 and 50 miles an hour. Now, the last Friday evening, I'm standing at my kitchen sink watching, just looking out the window. I just about watched one of my neighbors get T-boned by a car passing him when he was trying to make a left-hand turn onto Willow Street. This is a 25-mile-an-hour street. I don't know what kind of car it was. It went by too fast. I can tell you it was white. That's it. My field of view out of my window is about 150 feet. That's it. So there's a number of us there that are really very concerned. We have 2 families with brand new babies, and those babies are going to grow up. And their front driveways are Gun Club Road.
Can I stop you and just ask a question real quick?
Absolutely.
Are you asking us not to do the
No.
work out there?
No,
Okay.
I'm asking for consideration of what else can we do to slow them down.
Okay.
Now, there's I think a battalion chief or fire chief up there. We have a couple of state troopers up there. They get called out. They go down the street, lights and sirens. Fine, that's great. They're doing their job. But not John Q. Public that goes down at 45 or 50 miles an hour. So all I'm asking for is some consideration. Maybe we need to start actually doing a street study as to how much traffic there is. I can tell you, I've been watching, and I can tell you that there's approximately 800 cars a day going up and down Gun Club Road. And Public Works can do a survey, great. And if Public Works can share the information, the police department can share the information with Public Works about how much traffic there is, how many people are exceeding the speed limit. That might help a little bit too. Little communication between the two. Don't know if that happens, but it doesn't sound like it does.
Okay.
Okay.
Fair enough. We have received a few emails. Were you one of those emails that
Not
came
yet.
through? Okay, gotcha. Okay.
And that's the next plan. Is we're going to start, instead of calling and giving the police department an earful, it's not their fault. It's not their job to sit there. Their job is to educate. Their job is to enforce. It's only going to get worse, I'll tell you right now.
Sorry.
I'm not here to hear my head roar, but it's going to get bad. I don't want to see somebody's kid splayed out on the street, but that's what's going to happen.
All right.
Thank you
Understood.
very much for your time.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you coming out tonight. Mr. Belisle?
Good evening. I'm here to remind you of Planners Days next week, Thursday. Yes, it's
Kind of
next
thinking
week. I know. So the big stuff starts on Thursday with fireworks, coronation. The little parades on Friday, the buffet bingo bash if you're free, and then Saturday, and listen, parade at the beginning of the day, and barbecue, beer fest, frog jump, children's entertainment, penny scramble, fireman's muster, bed races, the main stage entertainment, and the cruising. And then Sunday, beer contest, car show, color show, crossing our fingers for the cakewalk, and the raffle drum. Of course, the fun house is going on the whole time.
Are you part of the beard contest? No. Okay.
Maybe next year.
Maybe next year. Okay. Questions? Mrs. Rounds?
I was just going to say, I know you sent out an email or somebody did about needing items for the cakewalk.
The cakewalk, yeah, they have to be commercial items.
They do have to be commercial.
Store-bought.
Okay.
How many do you need?
I'm not sure, the person that's running that is PTSA.
Oh, okay.
Katie Buck?
So the fun fest at the PTSA that's putting the fun fest
That's
on,
Woodland
or
class of
Okay.
2022.
what kind of activities are supposed
They're
to be?
gonna have like inflatables, and they'll have just a few on Thursday and Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday they'll bring in more. And they will be some for the younger kids, some for the older kids, some for adults. including
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, Mr. Belisle, bounce house for an adult?
Well, it's.
We're in.
It's an inflatable attraction.
Gotcha, an inflatable attraction.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. thought maybe it was a bounce house. I was like, my 38-year-old self could jump in there.
Might be an obstacle.
It's an obstacle course, they have a obstacle course.
We all know that was a lie, right?
Also, contest rate pro. for all the groups.
Okay, nice.
We'll be excited to see what they come.
All right, thank you, Mr. Blau. Looking forward to it. Anyone else for items not on the agenda that failed to sign up at the beginning of the meeting? Now's your opportunity to step forward. Seeing none. Moving on to items on the agenda, Mrs. Johnson. Good evening, Mrs. Johnson.
Good evening. Darlene Johnson, PO Box 1808, Woodland, Washington. Surprisingly enough, I am supportive of items.
Oh, my prayers have been answered. Yeah, you're here to give us a compliment.
So I don't have to resuscitate.
Hold on, I won't start your time yet until I catch my breath. Hold on. Wow. Mrs. Johnson, go ahead.
Well, I'm in support of the moratorium that you're talking about. It's the first and final reading on residential and commercial and that.
Action item B for those.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
And
Okay.
then I'm also in support of a holiday on the impact fees for businesses and commercial. And I know a lot of times people that feel like, well, I paid it when I came here as a business, so they should too. Well, Woodland Truck Line, we have that business, and I'm very much in favor of this because I kind of feel like jobs cures all ills with the community and with our country. And so good paying jobs is what more businesses in Woodland will bring. And I know that there is some concern on traffic and that actually businesses will actually help the traffic because if they've got jobs here, people aren't having to travel out of town to work. And the commute within town is a lot less than going from here to Portland, here to Vancouver, here to Longview. And so, and I feel like we have people, especially the ones that are commuting to Portland, would very much rather work in the state of Washington and not have to pay the Oregon income tax. And so anything that the city can do to encourage business growth, either industrial or commercial, I very much support. And this was tried in Clark County, and this was quite a few years ago, but I've got quite a bit of experience here. And they went from the lowest development county in the state of Washington to the highest by putting in a moratorium on impact fees. And that was in the area of industrial and commercial. That's it.
Thank you, Mrs. Johnson.
No questions then. That's the first two.
I don't have anything to throw back at you. Except thank you for agreeing with me. I feel like today was a massive win for Mayor Finn. Even though nothing's been voted on yet, this is a win for me. Anyone else for items on the agenda? Now's your opportunity to step forward. All right, seeing none. And we've come to the agenda itself this evening.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Moved by Councilmember Round, seconded by Councilmember Chapman. Mrs. Anderson.
Councilmember Cullen,
Aye.
Councilmember Howdy,
Aye.
Councilmember Chapman,
Aye.
Councilmember Rowland,
Aye.
Councilmember Burke,
Aye.
Councilmember Round.
Aye.
All right, the agenda's been passed. The time is now 7:15. We're moving into a public hearing on ordinance number 1513, transportation impact fee holiday. As Mrs. Johnson, obviously she's already left, but please take her testimony as part of the public hearing this evening. I know she got up and spoke to two. She probably had to get back to work, so we'll start there. And then
There you go.
There we
There you
go.
go.
Gotcha. All right.
Second session.
Now let me just make sure here. I'll just do this right because I don't know why it did that.
This conference will now be recorded.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It is 7:29 after our quick little technical issue there. We stopped the meeting and we will be kicking it back up again now. So the time is 7:29. We'll be going into a public hearing for ordinance number 1513, Transportation Impact Fee Holiday. Mrs. Johnson spoke at the beginning of the meeting, so we please take that testimony during on the agenda as her public hearing testimony. You've also received an email from Doug and Brenda Fredrickson against, and Miss Mary Rip, an email as well has been provided to you for against. I have no one else signed up this time. Now's your opportunity to step forward if you'd like to speak for the public hearing for or against ordinance number 1513.
Should have been let's use this time updating instead of having to wait.
Nobody cares for that.
No.
Oh,
Evidently.
okay.
All right, the time is now 7:30. We'll be out of public hearing. Moving on through the agenda, reports of City Council.
Well, I attended the ribbon cutting for Chamber for the Oak Tree. The place really looks nice. It was an interesting afternoon. It was fun. Yes. But they had a few bugs to work out, but it was fun to go to, so.
I made the Public Works get together, their celebration, and it was pretty good.
I was
A lot
out
of
of town,
people.
so didn't make that.
We missed it.
All right, seeing nothing else. Public Safety Committee.
We had a meeting this afternoon. We opened the meeting at 5:24 and Carl, Mr. Chapman was present and Ms. Rowland was present and Mr. Kelly was present. New business, there was no report. And as far as the police department, their update, Chief Kelly informed the committee that Officer Warner is doing well and will be graduating June the 16th from the CJTC Basic Law Enforcement Academy. Officer Hollingsworth will complete the department's field training program by the end of the month. This still leaves the department with 2 vacancies. The department has applicant interviews on June the 14th and will wait for civil service to provide a certified list of successful candidates. The department also has 1 clerk vacancy with the department, with the departure of police clerk Hyler, which we are working on filling. Chief Kelly discussed the WMC for the golf cart zone in need of updating, which he will be working on to provide the committee with updates for the future approval and for a future meeting. We have no old business and we adjourned at 5:49 and the next meeting will be July the 5th at 5:30 p.m. 2022.
Questions for Mrs. Rounds? Seeing none. Public Works.
So that'll be me.
Ms. Collins.
Councilmember Smith is out and he's our chair. So we met today and some highlights from the Public Works Department is that starting June 9th, they'll be working on a filter restoration project. Let's see. We have a really thick packet when we have meetings. So they are also prepping the ground for the 1.5 million gallon reservoir to start earlier. That project will start earlier next year. Let's see, they completed half of the hydrant testing throughout town. Let's see, Westcott Avenue Water Railroad Crossing should be done by month end. The Davidson Water Railroad Crossing, if you haven't been down Davidson, that project's done. So no
It is
detour.
nice.
It looks really nice. Let's see, street sweeping on the west side has been completed. They're just trying to make sure the part of town for everybody's gonna be here for Planners Day looks nice for all of our visitors, because we get thousands of people for our town, so street sweeping has happened over there. They're gonna start, people will start seeing some curb painting on that side of town. Back to the comment from somebody, chip seal is gonna happen on spruce, rhododendron, and madrona. That's coming up, scheduled for mid-June. Let's see, the seal coating on Second Street and Park Street parking lots has been completed. Public Works is moving June 22nd next door to the new addition that we acquired. The city parking lot seal coating and striping was done downtown. The gutters are completed on the community center over by the library, so that whole project is done. At Horseshoe, the gazebo got torn down. It's in the process of being replaced, and they are hopeful to have that all together for the coronation, which is in a couple days. Interestingly enough, over at Gorg Park, somebody like took out the chain link fence and a tree and did some damage with their semi truck. So Public Works is working on fixing that snafu. You'll notice downtown that the hanging baskets are up. So the pretty flowers that we're used to seeing are down there just in time for the parade. There's also some new bark dust and stuff down there. And then speeding ahead, because I like to talk about Ms. Coleman's ability to get grants for our town and work on projects. She's received some additional funds for Lakeshore Drive, that project, and she's applied for 7 grants, has been awarded 3 so far, and waiting on the other 4. So a big old chunk of money that the citizens of Woodland don't have to pay for fixing some things around town. And then we concluded our meeting. I wasn't paying attention at what time that was, but we'll be meeting again next month on July 5th.
All right, questions for Mrs. Holland. Mrs. Rounds.
I don't have a question, but I just wanted to let Mrs. Coleman know that they were out doing the yellow curb today. They were on Buckeye and they were doing, it looked like they were doing a good job. So.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Holland. As you can see by the agenda, we're utilizing our program that we've purchased years ago. We've kind of are starting to find little tweaks that we can benefit from. It does look a little different, a little bit cleaner. It's easier for the executive team to put together as well. So we're still working on a few things. So Mrs. Miller is for the second meeting for City Council and not the first. So I'll make sure that we address that internally to see if that's something that needs to be removed or how to work through that. So this is a new template that we're working with. Wahkiakum Council of Governments, I missed the last meeting. I had some issues with my regular job. So I was unable to make that meeting, but I understand that there were some grants that were awarded, some funding that was given out throughout the county, and we did receive, is that the one we received for Gun Club that day? Yes. So I missed the meeting. I couldn't have voted on it anyway. So anyway, we've got money coming in from the COG. So thank you. And then legislative, a bunch of grants have been submitted as Mrs. Holland reported on. Some of those are federal. So we're working on making sure that we keep our good relationships with our elected officials at the federal level. So more to come on that. It's not a whole lot to report. And if you have not registered for the AWC conference, is there anybody else that needs to have that taken care of? Okay, can you,
If they can do, if, I'm able to do it remotely.
okay. I don't, are they offering remote? Okay,
I
can you
believe
send
they are.
Mrs. Anderson an email and just let her know, please, and she'll get you registered. Anybody else?
I believe they are.
About, have you already registered?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Yeah, moving on, DWR, anything for DWR today?
Nothing is on.
Okay, why? Anything until after next week, okay, got it. Moving on to reports. I too was at the oak tree ribbon cutting. Loved what they've done on the inside. Looks completely different. Looking forward to them being fully open with their event center as well. Sounds like they had to take a small break, but they're back open again this evening. So I drove by and the parking lot was full, which is good. So things must be going well. Mr. Boyce, as you can see, is out this evening. He's been ill as well, like Mr. Smith, so he's been gone since mid last week. I want to talk about action item A this evening, the transportation impact fee holiday. This is its first reading. This is something I've been working on with our business community since 2016. I think that we finally got to a compromise. This is only traffic impact. This is, I would say that this is my program that I'd like to bring forward. And I know that there's some opposition and there's some for it and some against it, and I understand their reasoning. However, I feel like my job is to spur development and to get folks in here, create jobs. We are a sales tax based economy here in the city. That's what we rely on to get things done. So I hope that City Council will take that into consideration, and knowing that hopefully we can spur some development in our industrial and commercial areas. I also like to talk about action item B as well, which is ordinance number 1514, which is the moratorium. This is just a first reading. It is not a first and final. It's just a first reading only. This is coming to an end on the 20th, the 21st. So this is just in case Planning Commission will be discussing this, but just in case there's more work that needs to be done on it, we're asking that we do a first reading. To make sure. We may not need a second reading. We'll find out at our next meeting on the 20th. So please keep that in mind. This is just a continuation of what we're already doing, just because we haven't got the verbiage and everything done quite yet. Planning Commission is working on a number of things right now, so expect to be seeing those things coming across your desk. And the other thing I'd like to discuss, on the 20th, we'll be having a reception for Lieutenant Ortiz at 6 p.m. before the meeting. So from 6 to 7 will be a reception, and during that meeting, I think, is it the 20th? Is it the 20th? Does that sound right? 20th? The 20th, during the regular meeting, she'll be sworn in and penned. Her badges finally came in, or badge, I should say. And with that, Mr. Officer Bolo is doing quite well. And I'm sure, I don't know, Chief, if you have a report this evening, I don't want to steal your thunder.
Nope.
Okay, but he's growing and eating quite a bit.
He's so big.
Yes,
I looked
he's
on
doing
his
well.
Facebook page and he's just.
I was going to say he's got a new Facebook page, so please give him a follow so you know you can be on the lookout for Officer Bolo out there providing snuggles and bites at this time, since he's still a puppy. And will the puppy be at Planners Day? Not sure. Of course it will. Of course it will. He's fully vaccinated at this time. Yes, we all need to feel well. The veterinarian clinic here in town is working with us. It's one of our partnerships that we've got going. So they're providing some good service for us over there, which we appreciate. It's not free by any means. Let me just make that clear. However, there is a discount. But we appreciate their partnership in doing that, and donations should be in next week, I think, and they'll start coming in. And let's see. With that, I will kick it over to Mr. Randolph. All right, Mrs. Anderson.
The auditor's office doesn't work on Saturday, Sunday, or the holiday, so I had questions. I got out on May 27th. The Teamster contracts got signed, and so the record dates all been paid. Everybody. The Great Civil Service, the entry-level police officer report is June 14th. The public safety first position closed on Friday, June 3rd, and the report is rescheduled.
All right. Thank you. Chief Kelly?
I'll consider the public safety report as well.
Okay.
If any of the council members have questions, please.
And I know that Ms. Coleman, you've been working tirelessly, getting ready for Planners Days, and Chief, I know that you have too, getting the schedule together. And I know that's a lot of work for both your departments for that weekend, but so we appreciate you, and we know that it's a busy couple of weeks preparing for that and getting through it. So thank you in advance for all your hard work and your team.
A couple of extra bodies out overtime for Friday and Saturday night.
Good. All right. Looking forward to 100 years of celebration. Community development.
Couple, not much. Obviously, I'm here standing in that status. Next to community development, we do have an upcoming planning commission. We do have 3 public hearings. Just for the information that we in the room and anyone watching. The first is going to be the residential uses in commercial zones. It will be mandated that with some input from council. So we are going to providing the commission several options of next steps, ranging from 1-to-1 ratios of housing commercial to a longer term moratorium on any residential uses in commercial zones. The second is going to be a retooling of a writing of an official code section on special events, just outlining expectations, application process, stuff like that. And the third and final one is going to be the ordinance to allow the use of WATP on public roads. So if anyone's interested in coming, providing comments, please listening to any of those topics. We love your input. In terms of just straight points, development is continuing.
Good.
Several big special conferences, which Jim kind of sign off and the next step towards actual construction recently. So it's good to see the new development coming into town. The number of the owners actually, they're all very excited about Woodland, about business, community opportunities that they will have in town.
All right. Thank you, sir. Public Works.
Couple of clarifications that the filter plant, there's 3 phases of filter plant. We have filter plant, filter one starting up. So that has filter 2, phase 2 start from storage. Also, we have the fence and the tree restored and back in starting for 24 hours of the at Lord Park. And then we've completed the 3 trees in the entire town. So we'll come back. We probably will come through one more time on the parade route just to make sure that people get heard. Other than that, that's about it.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And just a couple more things I forgot to add. Chamber After Hours is Thursday the 16th from 5 to 7 at the city's hosting with VFW, and the corner store is providing food that evening. That will be at the VFW from 5 to 7. So come on down, say hi, see what's going on, and then walk on down to the coronation of the 100th Miss Woodland. So that's exciting. And then we do have an addition. Can I make an announcement now? I'm just going to go ahead and do it anyway. We will be having movies in the park coming up in a couple of weeks, but we're going to kick it off during Planters Day since there's no carnival this year. So we will be having a movie in the park on Friday the 17th, starting at approximately 9 p.m., depending on hours of darkness. So very excited about that. To be determined on what movie that is, but something very, very good. Very, very good. Secret squirrel information. This just in, breaking news, everyone, breaking news. We're having a movie in the park on the 17th. Yes. Yes. Bring them all. Bring them all. Bring the dog. Yeah, the bouncy houses are going. So it's going to be a great time in the park. I know that we don't have the the big carnival rides this year, which is disappointing, but we're going to try and make the best of it. So with that, moving on to consent items.
Make a motion.
Second.
Go ahead.
I was just
Oh.
gonna say, make a motion to accept consent items.
A second.
Motion by Councilmember Brown, second by Councilmember Chapman. Mrs. Anderson.
Councilmember Dowdy,
Aye.
Councilmember Rowland,
Aye.
Councilmember Holland,
Aye.
Councilmember Chapman,
Aye.
Councilmember Brown,
Aye.
Councilmember Burke.
Aye.
All right, consent items have passed. Ms. Rowland, do you have something do you have
I
a
have a
question?
question
And
about-
I just like moved right on.
I did have a question about the loops in the park thing about dogs. Will there be someone there to enforce the leash law?
We actually
We don't have any school.
No.
don't have a leash law, but we ask people to have a dog.
They have to be controlled by.
Controlled.
That could say a lot of people out there have issues with park animals. My autistic child is terrified about leash.
When we've talked about leash laws in the past, I think, and
And I've been trained to fight people's dogs at Horseshoe.
I've noticed, in the last 4 years, when people don't leave the park, people cross their pets to the park for that. I haven't seen any walking the leash. I've seen them before the movie start and they have dogs running up on Berlin, but they usually look good. So the ones that I've experienced, city group families, so. But I'm there, so if I see something.
Miss Coleman's not afraid to.
Who's trying to be sensory
Step up.
conscious.
She's our sheriff.
Yeah, Chief Coleman. All right, thank you.
Yeah, don't pull in the big guy.
Moving on to action items. Action item A, ordinance number 1513, transportation impact fee holiday, first reading.
Make a motion to approve action item A, ordinance 1513, transportation impact fee holiday, first reading.
Second.
Who said second?
I second it.
Oh, thank you. Ms. Rowland. Motion by Councilmember Round, second by Councilmember Rowland. Mrs. Rounds.
Well, I do believe that with all the work we've done to try to get the ports area up and running, and we are a tax-based community, that when you get more jobs in the community, it's a good thing. It might even speed up what the state would do to help us fix exit 21 and exit 22 also. Because if we get more people in here, it may get a little worse before it gets better, but I think it's a good thing to bring more business into the community. And it'll keep more jobs, more people here to work in the community. So.
Councilmember Rowland.
I just think that it's worth the first hearing because I'd like to learn and hear more about it.
Further discussion? Mr. Burke.
I think there's a problem. We make money to help fix the problems that they create by bringing the jobs, fixing the roads and stuff like that. We're talking about a transportation benefit district also that we're trying to shoot for. Would that affect that one too?
No.
No, okay. Well, I feel that it's gonna cost us in the long run, so I'm not for it.
Mrs. Dowdy. Right.
All right, so this is a first reading. This is not to vote on approving it. It's just.
It will come back at the
here-
next meeting
Okay,
for
that's-
final.
That's what I
Yeah,
want to
okay.
get clarification on what we're.
Gotcha. Mrs. Holland.
Are we allowed to know, like, was this something a specific person
No.
brought forward? It's just a thing.
Like I stated during my
Gotcha.
report, since 2016, we've been trying to find it's always been a topic of conversation.
Okay.
This is the best I could come up with compromise to move forward.
And it's only a
Nice.
2-year moratorium, correct?
Holiday.
Holiday,
Yeah, till
Excuse me.
2024.
yes, holiday, not a moratorium. Holiday.
Anything further? Mrs. Dowdy? Okay.
So if it's a first reading, are we gonna read through it and then have discussion, or is?
This is the
This
discussion.
is the discussion.
It will come back again if you have any changes or anything that you don't like in it. Now's your opportunity to bring that
Okay.
forward, or your concerns.
So I guess my concern would be that right now, I know traffic is a huge issue. And it's not even exit 21 and 22. It is simple things as going from the middle school to the high school to getting home, and it's taking almost an hour. There are things in this town that are causing a lot of frustration. And I know we talked about other things with putting moratoriums on commercial having residential and new neighborhoods and that kind of stuff, but businesses bring more traffic. What are we doing about the current situations with our local things, not exit 21 and 22, to make those, I mean, the other day it took me 15 minutes to go from the high school to Walmart. 15 minutes. And that was one business. But I'm concerned with other businesses coming in and making it even worse, because right now we have businesses, schools, and Walmart, all of that coming into one intersection at one time. And it's commercial areas that are feeding into that problem right now with just the ones we have in that commercial area, or not commercial, but industrial area. So when they're getting out of work, school's getting out, and people are shopping, it's a nightmare. And even just getting from one school to the other to get pickup for families, it's becoming harder and harder to get to your kids on time. So that's a big issue 9-10 months out of the year during peak hours. And so I think that's just one of the concerns I do have with how are we addressing local roads, not just the highway concerns.
Mrs. Rounds?
Well, I was just gonna say, I know people like to pick up their kids from school, but, you know, we pay tax dollars for the school buses. And if more people let their kids ride the school bus, we wouldn't have the traffic jams that we have now.
Well, the high school is student drivers as
Yeah,
well.
I agree with you there, but the middle school and,
But I mean, I'm even an employee at the middle school, so picking my own kids up who have after school activities, some of the sports and things are so immediate that they don't have time to ride the bus.
right,
And that's where you run into the problems with all the sporting events. Kids are supposed to be at sporting events by like 4:30, and we get out later. So parents don't have time for their kids to ride upriver an hour and a half or an hour, so that some of our bus routes are. So you're right, absolutely. But I also know that COVID presented a problem with, I don't want my kids riding the bus yet. So that's a whole new issue that I don't know when I'll be comfortable with my kids riding the bus. So that's,
mhm.
Anything further? Oh, Mrs. Holland? I almost skipped you.
Oh, it's okay. Because I'm kind of scrolling through the city website. I'm just trying to find out what, so transportation impact fee. Potentially, like, is there a way to know with the current things that are, the things that are currently in the works of being developed? If we were to pass this is a first reading, but eventually if we were to pass this, how much money would the city coffers be losing in impact fees with just the current things? Because is this like backlog to, or is it from the date forward?
From day forward.
Okay.
Nobody's grandfathered into it.
What is a norm, what's the percentage?
It depends on the business, though. It's a hard question to answer.
is.
Mr.
Gotcha. Okay.
David, can you answer? I mean, like you talked about industrial property versus a coffee stand, or
Gotcha.
you go ahead.
It's hard to say specifically without knowing the specifics of the project based off the use as well as the size of the proposal. I can give you just some examples. For instance, there is an industrial project with currently is a estimated transportation impact be about $27,000. You can also see a commercial, it's another one, it is somewhere in that is about 6,000. So it depends on project.
Gotcha.
And essentially it is calculated based off of estimated PM peak hour trips. Number of PM peak hour trips that we can estimate that business will go on to the
And this is
addition.
just businesses, not like megaloplex apartments or anything
No.
like that?
No.
Okay,
This holiday is just for commercial, industrial business.
New construction only.
Yeah,
gotcha.
apartments and even single-family homes when they're built also pay it, but that, the holiday is not.
Okay.
Mr. Burke.
Did we figure any money on impact fees in the budget? Or anything?
Ms. Coleman.
I know you get.
Ms. Coleman's the only one that can spend those.
Can you repeat the question? I believe I heard you said, I don't know.
Did we already figure it out with making so much money this year and put it in the budget,
Yeah, for this year's budget, for what we made in the past, correct.
which would be already an expenditure because we wouldn't be getting it?
No, so two different things there. So we budget for the impact fee dollars that we have in the budget already, for when we got the grant, how much money. So if I know there's not gonna be funds coming in, I wouldn't budget for something that years to come due to the fact that there would be impact fees coming in on that. So the budget that we have now is from past impact fees that we received, not proposed impact fees in the future. But I do also want to say that what David has given us the projects we have now, but there are other projects that will well exceed $27,000, more than 100, 200,000.
And
impact fees?
Ms.
Depending on the project. If you have a major trucking company coming here, you're gonna be looking at $100,000, $200,000. If you have just a regular, small commercial, storage facility, based on the number of trips. So it depends on the business.
And how long we got to use that money? 5 years, is it? 5 or 7?
That's what it is. Yeah, but it does.
For new projects only.
Yeah, but I have so many projects right now and so many grants coming in that I am not going to be applying for grants in the next couple of years because we have an abundance of dollars coming in that, I mean, millions of dollars that we're going to be spending on projects that I can take. So I've asked the mayor, just if you're considering it, to, I've just asked the mayor, people, let them know that I'm not going to apply for grants. So if you're gonna do it, this would be the time to do it.
Anything further?
One more question.
Mrs. Downing?
So after the 2 years, are the transportation impact fees only on new construction, or is it something they continue to pay year after year?
One-time fee.
It's a one-time, okay.
Yeah. All right, seeing nothing else, Mrs. Anderson, can you please take the roll on ordinance number 1513, transportation impact fee holiday, first reading?
Aye.
Councilmember Rowland,
Aye.
Councilmember Holland,
Hi.
Councilmember Dowdy. No. Councilmember Rounds,
Aye.
Councilmember Burke.
The ayes have it 4-2. Moving on to ordinance, action item B, ordinance number 1514, an ordinance declaring an emergency and imposing a temporary moratorium through December 31st, 2022 on the acceptance of processing of applications for permits for the development or expansion of residential uses within the central business C1, highway commercial C2, and neighborhood commercial C3 zoning districts as defined in Woodland Municipal Code Title 17, and establishing an immediate effective date and authorized publication by summary. First reading.
I make a motion, but do I need to read
Just
that whole
ordinance
thing? Okay. I make a motion to approve ordinance 1514.
Moved by Councilmember Rounds, second by Councilmember Burke. Councilmember Rounds.
I think we need to give the planning commission time to get their ducks in a row, and so I think this needs to be done.
Councilmember Burke.
I agree.
Further discussion? Seeing none, Mrs. Anderson, you please take the roll on action item B, ordinance number 1514.
Councilmember Rowland.
Aye.
Councilmember Dowdy. Councilmember Chapman.
Aye.
Councilmember Holland.
Aye.
Councilmember Burke.
Aye.
Councilmember Rounds.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Moving on to action item C, ordinance number 1515, create new fund 232, first and final.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 1515, create new fund 232, first and final reading.
Second.
By Councilmember Rounds, second by Councilmember Burke. Councilmember Rounds.
It's just paperwork that we need to do, so.
Councilmember Burke.
I agree.
Further discussion? Seeing none, Mrs. Anderson, please take the roll on action item C, ordinance number 1515.
Councilmember Chapman.
Aye.
Councilmember Holland.
Aye.
Councilmember Rowland.
Aye.
Councilmember Dowdy.
Aye.
Councilmember Burke.
Aye.
Councilmember Rounds.
Aye.
The ayes have it. We've come to the end of our meeting.
I make a motion to end the meeting.
Second.
Moved by Councilmember Rounds,
You make a motion. it's spoon, right?
second by Councilmember Rowland. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? 8:05. Thank you, everybody.
What was it?